right, man, here we go. Dame Dash, what's good?
What's happening, man?
Everything good. Now, I don't know if you remember, but a very long time ago when you were on Power 105 on the Ed Lover show, I was there recording, and me and you did an interview kind of between the takes.
Was me and Ed Lover snapping?
A little bit,
Oh,
a little bit.
were there any funny
Shout out
jokes?
to Ed Lover.
Were there any funny jokes you heard that you could remember?
Oh, man. What I do remember is when I asked you about your businesses, you told me that all your partners were bums.
Oh, okay.
That was the one thing. That was the one thing I do remember.
All right. Yeah, that was probably true at the time.
A lot of people look at Dame, and I don't know that if they really know the backstory. How long have you been an entrepreneur, like working for yourself full time?
Since I was about 15.
15 years old. What was your first entrepreneurial job?
I mean, again, I don't advocate it, and but it is what it is. But it was crack. I sold crack, but at a street level at that time
hmm
when I was about 15, 16.
Did you ever get beyond the street level? Did you ever try to make it bigger than what it was?
Yeah, but that's at that point you can't really be talking about it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
but at that age, and that was my mentality, was to be my own boss, and the freedom that it gave me, and having more money than people older than me made it where, it made me kind of arrogant because they didn't have anything that I felt I didn't have, and I just felt they were living a square life. So I definitely think it gave me a certain mentality, you know what I mean? And then also the concept of taking your money and reinvesting it, and then also having to pay people to help you sell it, and understanding that you always have to have a team and that you have to lead by example. But the difference about crack is that there's violence involved. If somebody doesn't pay you, even at that level, you got to put your hands on them, or else you can't really do that game anymore. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's always watching. So there's also different stakes, and there's also different repercussions of disrespect. And the only reason why is because of the survival aspect of it, not for the glorification of it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like, in order to be to order to survive at that street level, it involved having to be violent at times. You know what I mean?
What do you think was the craziest situation that you got into during that time in your life?
I couldn't even begin to tell you, man. Every day was crazy compared to what I go through now, you know.
Mhm.
But again, I was young, and my brain wasn't completely developed, and I wasn't so into my future as I am now. And I also wasn't so into like leading by example. I didn't have kids at the time. I was just a child, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it was like a child that had a lot would look like would be like, to his age peer, would look very evolved, but amongst a bunch of adults would probably appear very young. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how it always
So
was.
I
So
mean,
I always had more money than everybody my age. So I always had to be around people that had what I had, but I think I was always a little immature because I was young for what I had. You understand what I mean? So like, I had a car when I was 15. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was
yeah.
going out to the rooftop, and I was going out every night. Like, I felt I was an adult when I feel like I've been an adult, and I've had a team since I was 15 for sure.
Wow. Okay. So, at what point did you start moving into the music game?
After, well, you saw Paid in Full, and that was a very personal experience for me, and that scared me, that experience, because, I saw it, and I saw a kid die that had nothing to do with what was going on. And it made me think that the game was disgusting and unfair, and I didn't want any parts of it, but I didn't want to have a 9-to-5 job. So I was trying to figure out how to live like a hustler, but not really be doing anything illegal. And I had went to a party with my cousin Darian, and it was an industry party, and everyone was really pretending to be hustlers, but none of them really were hustling. And I was like, oh, I could do this all day.
Mhm.
And I felt like this would be a good place to be able to kind of, make money and not feel like I was a 9-to-5 square, and also use it as a
Mhm.
platform to do other things. Like, I never just wanted to do one thing. I want to do everything, which is what I've been doing. I like to live. I've never been worried about money or security because I've always had the ability to earn, you know? I've always been worried about not living, which is probably why I do so much of it. Like, there's an insecurity there for some reason where I feel like I must need to be great at everything because
Hmm.
I can't just stop at one thing. And I'm having too much fun doing it. It's not even a competitive thing. My life has been like, my crew. Like, I came up in an environment where like when everyone was being scary and acting up, like, I had a crew called The Best Out, and all we did was laugh and make money and spend it. Like we just didn't want to. It just our concerns weren't the same as everyone else's. I guess because we had so much at such a young age, and we felt adult problems were funny. They were ridiculous to us, and we just used to just get together, and it was like a bunch of like-minded people from different blocks, like my man Rel and my man Kurt and my man Claudie B and my man Hal. You know, we were all from different blocks, but we all kind of thought alike. We were like that person on that block, like the funny hustler, cool guy that wasn't about fighting, that had the respect of everybody, scary because we were surviving, you know, honestly, and respected everybody, but we just liked to have fun. And it was really because we were so young. You know, like to have 10,000 in your pocket at 15 is to a 15-year-old with no bills and nothing, and you know, used to having the ass to go outside and get candy. That's $1 million, and it gives you a mental freedom and an independence and a power that is just, it burns you out fast. And I think that's why Harlem cats are that way, because we made money early. You know what I'm saying? And it just burns. Like once you're an adult, you can't go back to being a kid. So I guess I felt like I've been an adult since, you know, I've been buying my own. I don't think you know what the question that I never thought just now? My parents haven't bought me clothes since I was about 14. My parents I haven't had nobody buy me nothing. Let's say that. No one's taken care of me since I was 14 years old. And I didn't want nobody taking care of me because they couldn't. What they was trying to buy me, I wasn't trying to wear. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, put that on somebody else. I'm gonna go buy my own. You know?
So so after you went to the party and you kind of saw a little bit of the music game, like what was your first official entrance into music?
But I don't really want to go back over my bio, man. I've done this shit 100 million times, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know, you know, everybody knows the history, but I just even thinking back to all that shit, you know, I'm writing a book now. I'll say that shit for the book. You know what I mean?
Okay, fair enough.
I think it's all that shit is in my rear view, man. You know, that's not what defines me. You know what I mean? And I want to move
Yeah.
on from that. Let's talk about what I'm doing now. Let's talk about what I've done in the last 5 years. You know, because I think what I've done in the last 5 years will probably affect pop culture for the next 100. Even if in the moment it doesn't, you know, you don't know right now, because I haven't done it for everybody to see. And, you know, what I've been doing is I've been running around the world looking for like-minded people, people that want to be independent, people that want to stick together, people that want to enjoy life. But I couldn't find that like that in America. It was like I had, you know, I hung out with everybody cool. So I went to China, I went to Thailand, I went to Hong Kong, I went to Beijing, I went to Shanghai, we went to Jamaica, and we filmed it. And we, like, you know, we ran into artists from all different walks of life, like, you know, like rock and rap and DJs and jazz. And, you know, opened the art galleries, you know, in Charleston and in Tribeca. And I just taped everything, and I developed a station for it, so I ain't got to talk about it. People could just see it. So I've been developing this television network really on the Liggity for the last 5 years, you know, through Diddy 172 and then Poppington, which is now, and you can now see it, you know. And I don't believe, like, the new HBO is Netflix, and Netflix is not on cable. So I think, you know, what's legit right now is, you know, the internet. And that's why, if you notice, that's where you can really see everything and understand my point of view. So I have a television network. It's called the Poppington Group. It's PGTV. You know, it's independent. And I think that hip hop now should be looked at culturally as intellectual, because we are. And we should make money off our intelligence and our natural, authentic experiences, as opposed to the ignorant and emotional parts of it. And I think the people that should reap the benefits of it should be of the culture. And because of the internet, there's no more middleman. And that's what I want to focus on, is not only being an example of being able to be independent without compromising quality of living, but also showing other people how to do it. And then also making people responsible that have been taking advantage of our culture, but not giving back to it, to the extent that they don't even feel that they have to even answer for it. Like, I just don't care. And that's for Joey on Combat Jack show. You know what I'm saying? He just said, I don't care. Like, I don't care what y'all think. I'm gonna rape your culture. I don't care if you don't feel I deserve to be here. You don't even deserve an answer, even though, you know, he hasn't done nothing outside of his culture or in the culture. He just deserves to be called a president of urban, which to me means the CO, like a person that's supposed to run all the prisoners from another culture. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, one of the things that you mentioned that was kind of interesting to me was You talked about the entrepreneur mentality versus a employee mentality.
Yeah.
Explain that a little bit.
It's just not having a boss, but it means you have to put up your own money, which to some people is unfathomable, which is unfathomable to me. You know, but that's only because like probably I've had a certain way of living my whole life. Entrepreneur means you put up your own money, you buy some stuff and you sell it for probably double what you bought it. Or it could mean that you make money off somebody and you have a commission, but then it's going to mean someone's going to resent you, you know? But it's just being your own boss, really. And you know, being able to sacrifice what you call security for what some people call insecurity, putting your money where your mouth is, eating the food you kill, being a true wild animal. You know, I'm just not a tame beast. I just never had a leash on my neck. I've never had anyone pull me in any direction that I don't feel like going. I've never had to ask somebody when I could come in or when I could go, or, you know, it's just nothing that I would want for my kids. It's nothing that I would want for anyone that I care about. And I care about my culture. I really do I care about my culture. Like my culture is like my block. The way I love my block, the way motherfuckers love their boroughs, the way niggas be screaming out Brooklyn, that's the way they supposed to be screaming out their culture. I love my culture. When someone from my culture wins, I'm happy, just like someone from my block wins. So I'm never mad when someone from my culture wins. When someone from my culture is fucking up, I'm not usually going to do it in front of people. I might have an issue with it, but I'm not going to publicly chastise that person because it kills the bigger picture. But when someone's raping my culture, when someone's abusing my culture, it's like watching a kid get molested. That's not my kid, but I'm not going to sit there and watch it get molested. But really, you know, it's not my kid, it's my block. I'm not going to sit there and watch my block get tore down, my culture get tore down just because I made it. So I just feel like as a culture, we all need to be questioning these people. Like, how come it's only me? Like, how come nobody's really asking Joey, why you feel that you should be the president of Urban at Interscope? Who's his boss that said, yo, you should be watching Urban people? Like, what? That's some racist shit to me. That title is racist. And how does a man outside the culture have that title? You see, it makes me a little bit passionate, and I usually don't. But again, I have passion for my culture, you know? But I just don't understand why we let them do that. You know, I heard the Comeback Jack show and I listened to the questions and I said, see, this is the problem. The people asking the questions only ask the questions that the people that want to be, that are being asked want to be asked. You got to ask somebody some questions that are challenging. You got to question somebody. They can't just give you any dumb answer. You're a lawyer. So if somebody says they don't remember, you're supposed to be like, come on, man, you're a CEO or you're a president or you're supposed to be the president of Urban. You don't remember what deals you gave somebody? You think it's all right to give another man's number to some other man, even though you don't have his permission? You don't know etiquette of gentlemen, and you're supposed to be the president of something? To the extent that because you don't know better, someone could get hurt in a really bad way? That's dangerous. And these are who people are giving the titles to control our culture, because that's all president of Urban means. So whoever's Joey's boss should be responsible. Like, yo, why didn't you hire somebody from the culture, dog? Like how come it's not even enough respect to even pretend to put somebody and say that we respect you enough to have one of you do this? Like, you got someone from my culture asking you if you could put someone else from their culture out. Like, if you like this guy, like hearing him give his opinion on urban music. I don't know, man.
Joey's boss is Jimmy
Man,
IG.
he's in my rear view. Actually, he's small. I'm talking about Lyor, man. How come nobody's questioning Lyor and his 360 deals? Well, how come nobody interviews Lyor? How come did you see the attitude? I don't have to answer. I don't care if you think I'm raping your culture. I don't care what you've done in your culture. I don't have to answer you. And I don't think I just don't find that respectful. I find it flagrantly disrespectful. And I find people that just turn the other way, I think you got to hold yourself accountable as well. You can't just get mad at the culture vultures. You got to get mad at the people that's being culture vultured. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be culture vultured and be like, yo, at least I could go home and pay bills. And only care about your safety, what about the rest of the culture's safety? And I'm not judging anybody because not everyone's built like that. I guess I'm just trying to give you my perspective, It's just,
Mhm.
I'm giving you my lens right now. That's all.
Well, what is you know, at the time that you were heavily involved in the music industry, there's no such thing as 360 deals. But right now, 360 deals are more common. Do you think that there's something inherently wrong with 360 deals?
100%. They're giving away what usually happens is when you sign a record deal, because it's corporate money, they spend a lot of money and a lot of people get paid and you don't really have too much margin. But everybody gets paid,
Right.
but the artist. And the artist is cool with that because that's the commercial for them to go make their money selling their merch, which is their t-shirts, and make their money from their show. But now they're saying, not only should I own 100% of your ass and you only get a percentage of your ass now you can't, I own your ass on the road and your clothes, and also every time you make money from endorsements. So you actually telling
Right.
someone to give up their whole entire behind, and they shouldn't. And I've watched them trick people into thinking that after they built their foundation and they have their show and all the exposure is done, that they need them to go to the next level and then have them sell their whole entire behind away. 360, whole 360 degrees of your ass, pause, away, just because of a trick. And now you got to ask a person, or you have to say things like, the label lets me do this and that. And you had 100, it's just, I don't like it. I just don't. Like when you say, somebody can never say an artist is signed to me, because I don't want to sign another man. That makes no sense. And I don't want another man to say I signed him. That doesn't sound correct to me. I have partnerships with people, which I've always done. I believe a man should always be able to be a man. Pause. So I do 50-50 ventures no matter what. I never do, I sign you, I own you. I don't do that. The mentality doesn't sound right. People accepting that doesn't sound right. People being proud of that doesn't sound right. It's aggravating. Maybe because I'm aware and no one else is. But if you look back at all these YouTube tapes, every single thing I was saying 10 years ago, I'm saying it now. But just everyone thought I was crazy 10 years ago. So I'm not crazy now? Or maybe people are just evolved enough to hear it. But my message is consistent. I walk it like I talk it. Pause. I'm not saying I agree with Fidel, but I pulled a Cuba. Like, I'm not messing with nobody. My whole thing is vertical, and I have a whole television network that reflects that. And you can see everything I've been doing while I've been slave broke. And slave broke is when someone that has a job considers you broke because you don't have any liquid, because all your money's in your businesses and your real estate and you got cash flow and independence. That's like a slave's fear. He's like, that's broke. But I'm independent rich, period.
Right.
So I could be slave broke. I'll be slave broke all day. Anyone that says I'm broke, I am broke. I'm slave broke. But I feel indie rich. I'm living a good life and I get to take care of my kids. And that's, to me, all that counts. Indie rich is what I want. Slave broke is whack. That's flex money. I just say.
When you talk about how different the deals are right
And
now
you know
than the
what? I'm not even
360
mad at you,
deals.
Flex. I've decided I'm not even fucking with you no more. You my nigga. Beef off, pause. All right? I'm not gonna let them have us mad at each other. Joey's a hurt, but I'm not mad at you, dog.
So everything's good officially now?
It always was good. I just wanted to have a conversation. I was looking forward to having an intellectual debate with Ebro, but he just quit. He threw the white flag out. I wanted to have a conversation with him because when no one's in the room, he has a lot to say. And I definitely, like, I'm not gonna speak on another man's business, but I definitely think it's disrespectful to be trying to talk to Chuck D any old kind of way. Like, he needs to blindly just listen to Chuck D. I know I would. Chuck D called me, tell me anything, I gotta listen out of respect. And then to be publicly speaking on it and to be defending something you don't own. I mean, I think eventually he's gonna have to give somebody a conversation, but you shouldn't be scared, Ebro. Don't be scared. Have a conversation, man. These one-sided conversations, they're real funny to me. But people have a whole business model on just speaking loudly on the mic, and then the minute someone challenges you, you know, you know what I mean? Funny to me. I heard Angie just quit. Is that real? Angie Martinez just quit? Big shout out to Angie Martinez. I knew she could do it one day. I'm glad she did that. It's time for her because she's talented. I'm good. I know that shit felt good to say I'm out of here. I mean, I don't know what happened, but freedom is beautiful. She gonna love that.
I'm looking at Poppington Group, the website right now,
It's a
and
television
you have
network.
a
Don't try to play
video.
me. No, I'm just playing.
Yep,
Nah, it's a television network. That's where it
that's good.
rests.
Well, you know something. Let's take a step back about this television network real quick. So when you say television network, I mean the first thing I think of is Revolt. I mean, is there any similarities to what you're doing in Revolt?
Well, Revolt is doing exactly what I was doing at Creative Control 5 years ago. And
Okay.
everybody knows that. Cooney and Shike. You know, I got my 5Ds 5 years ago. They had the platform and I had the content, and we revolutionized, I think the way people approach the internet because of Jonah and the way we did Black Rock. And we've always had that
Hmm.
television network. And, I was gonna put it and try to get it on cable, but I just didn't think that that was the right way to approach it, because you have to go raise money and they need to see $150 million. And that means I got to have partners that aren't from the culture. And I didn't feel like doing all that. So I felt like I'm going to just do my thing on the internet. But I think that Revolt, and I officially will say that, and I don't think there's no disrespect to Puff, but for them to say that they weren't heavily influenced by Creative Control would probably have a lot of people upset. And I asked Puff that, Puff, was Revolt influenced by Creative Control? And I have no problem with being influenced. That's why you do things. Big shout out to Puff for pulling that off. Pause. I've had conversations with him asking him, yo, how did you do that? And connect me. And I'm waiting for that call. So if he has resources, I want to use them. I'd rather click up with Puff. I'm not against him, but yeah, definitely, Revolt was definitely influenced by Creative Control. I just, didn't go get that $150 million from a hedge fund to show to Comcast when everyone else did, you know?
So you're not looking uh, to get your platform
Did you
on
ever see
cable.
Creative
You're looking to
Control?
stay strictly on the internet.
Have you ever seen
I
Creative
did.
Control?
I, I did. I remember there was some currency stuff on there that I
Yeah,
remember seeing.
everybody
Yeah, I
remembers
definitely
that.
remember that.
So, and the most deaf stuff and all that stuff, you remember? And the J Electronic. But let me
Yeah.
ask you a question. Do you think that Revolt was influenced by Creative Control in hindsight?
It seems like Revolt is so focused on cable and kind of everything that
I'm
goes
I'm
with
just
it.
talking
I
about
feel
the
like
content, the content, the content.
the content, yeah, I can see some similarities.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
But yeah, I just don't think that they're focusing on internet at all.
Yeah, but that was
And
that
that's kind
wasn't
of the
what
big
that.
difference that I'm
But
seeing.
your question to me was it similar to Revolt? And yeah, again, this has nothing to
Yeah,
do with the. I don't have anything to do with cable. I'm on the internet, but I thought you were talking about the content, not the business model. But yeah, Puff and I, we always have a different business model. You know what I mean?
yeah.
We do things
I feel
different,
you.
and that's not no bad thing. Big shout out to Puff. I think it's dope that he stays relevant and he's a hard worker. But we don't do things the same. We have a different mentality completely. But I have a different mentality than everybody.
Sure. Now, have you ever like sat back and actually counted the revenue that you've generated over the years of your careers?
Nah, I lost track of that before. I don't even count money, man. That's not what I do. That takes too long. I used to count money
Okay.
in the street, man. That shit takes too long. I'm not worried about money like that. If I can't see it, I don't even like it in my pocket, man. I don't like money like that. I want it spent. I want to enjoy life. I want to put it into something that's gonna make me more money.
Now, you've always been really heavily into fashion.
Yeah, 'cause I like to be fresh.
Yeah. Um, how impressed were you with with what Kanye did with the Air Yeezy, and then what ultimately happened afterwards with him leaving the company?
I missed that whole thing, man. I didn't even know about it.
Really?
Somebody told, cause my man and them, they come in here and they buy sneakers. They having fly sneakers. And I think they told me about it, cause I never even know he had a sneaker. But I be in my own bubble. So again, I'm not one to be really paying too much attention to what another dude is doing too much. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really know what Kanye be wearing. I didn't. If I saw the sneakers, I wouldn't even know what they was. You know what I'm saying? And that's just me. And that might be bad. But also, I'm 43 years old. Like I'm not really
Mhm.
looking at sneakers like that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, i- in the sneaker world, the Air Yeezy for sneaker heads, and I also own a site called Sneaker Watch. Like the Air Yeezy 2, the Red October, is considered the most desirable sneaker in the whole world of sneakers. It sells for
That's
about
dope,
five
man.
grand now, if you can get a pair.
But yeah, that's probably not. I probably wouldn't pay for. That's not me, man. I don't collect sneakers. I like to collect like Ferraris and like companies. You know what I mean? So, but if somebody gave me a pair, I don't know, man. I'm not. I like. I got a pair of Rod Lavers right now, so I'm like a real classic. You know what I mean? Like I don't really go too far new design sneakers, but I think that it's dope that you know Kanye can touch the world like that. If I'm gonna have an opinion of
Yeah.
of what he's done, and I'm proud of it because I know that this is what I told him and I told everyone else was gonna happen 10 years ago. you know, when everyone was fighting me about it. You know what I mean?
Well, you were the one that really championed Kanye.
Yeah, I'm the one that championed everyone. Pause. That was my job,
Mhm.
to be the champion. That's why I made the champions.
I feel you.
That was my job. I did
I
my
feel
job.
you.
My job was to make people famous and make them rich. That was my job. That's what I did.
Yeah.
By any means necessary. It wasn't about being liked. It was about making people famous and making them rich. And that's what I did.
I mean, you mentioned not being liked. Do
I,
you
I didn't
feel
mention
that
that. I just said
that
that wasn't my job to be liked. I don't know if I'm liked. I
Mhm.
think I was liked a lot, and I think I'm still liked a lot. I think I'm loved now. I have no regard of whether someone likes me or not. I assume they love me. Why would they? I don't do nothing wrong. Everybody should love me, I think.
Well, whether people like you or don't like you, I think the one thing that does hold true is I think
That I
that
make people rich.
certain people are scared of
That's
certain
one thing
people
that
are
do
scared
hold
of
true.
you.
I could make motherfuckers rich. That's one thing I could do. That's one thing Dame do. Pause. He makes motherfuckers wealthy. He makes sure they can know how to take care of themselves when they not with him no more. Pause. That's what you're supposed to do. You know, I'm not the guy that puts someone in business and makes him, you know, he has to be dependent on me. I make it so they could go get money well without me years later. I'm the future.
Mhm.
My thing is to show people how to take care of themselves and then be happy when they do. Whether, you know, we talking or not, or whether they're giving me some of that. I just never get no money from it. Yeah, Kanye needs to send me some. Send something over, Kanye, man. I ain't seen you in a minute. Damn, send something to Biggs or something.
Right.
Damn.
I mean, do you feel that people are scared of you?
I'm not even thinking about all that, man. My job is not to think about what other people think. That's not what I do. That's too many people to think about, man. I only got one brain. All I'm thinking about is me and my family and the people that I love, and just being fair and having respect and leading by example and just karmically doing the right thing. You know, to fight for freedom means you got to fight. That's part of it. And you can't make history without a struggle. History's not worth it if there's no fight. So I like to fight. I box. I used to box for recreation. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just the person I am. So I don't care if I'm liked or not. I don't care about none of that. I'm caring about whether my family's provided for. Ask me if I care if my kids like me. Then I tell you, yes, my kids love me. And I'm very happy to tell you about that. Am I happy that they all could go to private school and that they all can go around the world? I'm very happy about that. And that's all that matters at the end of the day is how your children feel about you and your family. That's all that matters. That's it. And if you think anything else and someone makes you believe that it's anything else, they're just making money off you. Don't listen to them anymore.
Do you feel that you've changed since you got older in terms of how you interact with people?
I better. I would. Don't you think you've changed? You know, like we're supposed to evolve every day. I find some
Right.
enlightenment every single day. I evolve. I would hope. If I stay stagnant, you know, even business is supposed to grow 10% every year. Of course, I've changed. I'm supposed to change. I was when the cameras were on me 24/7. I was in my 20s. I was acting like I was in my 20s. You know, people don't understand. Like when you get money young, you're still young, but they expect you to act old. I wasn't acting old. I was having fun with my money, and I still do.
Well, there's an interesting quote that I always like to kind of refresh myself with, and that is well, one of the greatest things about becoming a millionaire is not the money as much as the person you have to become to be a millionaire.
I mean, I was a millionaire when I was a teenager, so it was too easy for me, I think. You know what I mean? It wasn't even an issue for a millionaire. I've been a millionaire to myself since I was 15. I want to be a billionaire, but I'm not going to
Yeah.
hold $1 billion. I'm going to spend it, you know, but I want to make it. I know I must have spent at least, you know what I mean? But I put it into the economy. It's not like the stuff that we spend it on goes in vain. It goes into making other people jobs, putting other people's kids through college. You know, the things that people say that I'm doing in flamboyant are employing people, giving people opportunities to make money off themselves. I don't spend my money on sneakers. I don't spend my money on, you know what I mean? I spend my money on providing opportunity and putting my whatever inspires me, figuring out how to monetize it and hiring the right people, you know, to make it happen, to make my visions happen. I don't trick the dough. We just like to look good while we doing it. You know what I mean? And, you know, like me and Cam, like I got this restaurant the other day in Dumbo called The Dish, and Cam came to check it, you know, and we were like, yo, let's just do this shit together. Pause, cause we could, cause we friends. Because we could just have a restaurant and be from Harlem and, you know, make money together for years, never having to conform and be independent, and just get a restaurant and show the world that, you know, culturally we can stick together and have fun for years. You know what I mean? And we don't have to make money off each other just to fucking laugh. You know, I'm not around people because they can make me money. I make money off the people I'm around because I like being around them, and we monetize the experience. You know, also friendship is important. Like, look at the friendship that's happened between us, the whole movement for the last 20 years. We've been kicking it as friends, laughing at everybody for 20 years straight. 10 years before y'all even saw us in the camera, we was kicking it and having fun. All of us. I knew Jim, I knew Cam, I knew Dookie. Jim, Cam and I in the dash part of it, we're talking about bloodshed. Oh my God, I forgot about so many things that happened before the cameras were on us. You know, my interaction with Cam and Big L and McGruff and our blocks. It was so much, you know, history there that no one's even seen friendship. And then like 20 years later, we having just as much fun, but we doing it in a different way. But it's the same ideals. We still laugh at the same shit. We still know everything that's going on the concrete because our friends are still there. We still laugh. And I see a lot of people not laughing and not having fun. And I don't consider that success. You know what I mean? I consider, and then, you know, my friends the best out. We talk every day. There's no money involved. We just kicking it. And I think that is what needs to be promoted. And that's all I care about. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like all of that.
Now,
Like that's what needs to be seen. And that's what you could also see on the television network.
uh-huh. Now, we're at one of your art galleries right now.
Yeah. In
Yeah.
Lower East Side or Chinatown, whatever you want to call it.
Okay. Now, I'm an art collector myself. I'm a big Keith Haring fan. I own a few of his pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, there is some sort of connection. You know, there always has been a connection between hip hop and the art world, but it's never, you know, kind of comes and goes. There's never been like a real concrete one. Like, what do you see as the connection between hip hop and art?
I mean, hip hop is art. Anything, fashion and art, movies is art, music, it's all one thing. It's all like a communication from a creative, and it's based on inspiration. Art is just you know, the art on the wall is just a form of it. You know, everything we do is art. So it's always had a connection. I just don't think that because it's controlled by corporate or monetized by corporate, it's been able to survive in a organic place like a gallery. So I've always
Huh.
chosen to have my offices or wherever I work in a gallery because I want to be around creative energy. So I want shit on the wall that inspires me. Artists should be inspired all day. That's what an artist is. It's inspiration. You understand what I'm saying? So it only makes sense if you're in a creative business to be completely in a creative environment. So why wouldn't my walls have art on them? You know what I mean? And there's always been that relationship. You know what I mean? And when it's just natural. You know, musicians always hang out with artists and actors. Creatives all hang out together all the time.
Mm-hmm. There was an interview with Drake in Rolling Stone. And he said, I would love to collect art at some point, but I think the whole rap art world thing is getting kind of corny.
Okay.
And this in turn it was a jab at Jay, I think, from, you know, mentioning Warhols and so forth in his songs, and Jay responded. Um, do you think there ever will be a real strong connection between the art world and hip hop?
It already is. Whether it's recognized at a pop level or not, it doesn't matter. I mean, you're talking about Rolling Stones. You know, that's not the most credible, you know, rock and roll right now, the first source of information. You know what I mean? You have to get the first source of information on the internet, or like Pitchfork or some shit like that. You know what I mean? And I think regardless of whether it's recognized on a pop level or not, it's always going to be a connection between music and art. It doesn't matter whether pop recognizes it or not to make it credible. It exists no matter what. There's never not been that connection. It's just now pop culture is recognizing it. But again, I didn't even hear about none of that shit because, again, I don't be listening to what other dudes say to other dudes because I don't care about their conversations. But like, that man's entitled to his opinion. He can say what he wants to say. But, you know, he's from Canada. No disrespect, but, you know, no big deal.
You created the term pause. I was talking to Freaky Zeke the other day about this. I think Dipset came up with no homo and you came up with pause.
Right. My crew. Yeah. Best out.
Yep. Um, I mean, how do you feel about homosexuality in hip hop these days?
Next question.
Next question. Fair enough. In terms of all the different businesses you have right now, you have your network. And then you have your restaurant that you're opening up right now, Cam. What else are you working on?
I mean, what's my passion or what am I working on with other people?
Business wise.
Well, business wise, I'm trying to be like LVMH. So I'm a company that owns companies. You know what I mean? I'm a conglomerate. So I have an oil company, Dash Motors. I have a television network, the Poppington Group. I have a group of art galleries with the Poppington Art. I have the Poppington Press, which I'm going to be releasing a bunch of comic books. I have my music division, Blue Rock Music, and all these things have websites. So if you want to see the oil, you could go to dashmotoroil.com. If you want to see the music division, you could go to bluerockrecords.com. If you want to go to the television network, you could go to poppingtongroup.com. Also, you know, even though I try to stay away from the company as much, Rachel Roy is a big company, and you can go to rachelroy.com, you know. And then there's also Dipset, but I'm working with the stuff I do with Cameron is Dipset USA, and that's the clothing line and, you know, all the music that we're doing. And you can go to dipsetusa.com. And I got this project that I've curated with Cam and A-Track coming out called Federal Reserve. And there's a bunch of
Right.
music that's coming out with that. You know, I'm about to direct Percentage Part 2, like this Netflix thing that Cam got, that's starring Cam with Shakim and them from Flavor Unit. And then I'm also supposed to direct this movie and I don't even know if I should announce that one, but another movie. I don't know if we're allowed to announce it, but I'm gonna direct 2 movies in a row, and I'm directing this television show called Los Sides that's gonna premiere on the Poppington Group starring Cameron. That's sponsored by Invisible Text. App is sponsoring that. So, you know, my hands are full. You know, so many other things that are happening. I don't even want to, you know, forget so many other clothing lines. We got Vampire Life with Jim Jones. We got Lady Vamp. You know, I got the whiskey coming out, Dusko Whiskey. And again, these are all different companies. You know, like LVMH has Givenchy and it has Louis Vuitton and it has Hennessy and it has Moet. You know, I'm being that, but I'm doing it at a boutique level. Not even a boutique level, it's just funded by me. I have no partners in any of these ventures. So, you know, it's complete independence without compromise of quality of living. And what I'm trying to build a brand of doing is just a lot of quality things. But again, I'm playing a different game. That's why I always felt that it was funny that they would make it like I got a beef with Jay, which is ridiculous because he raps. My beef was with Lyor because I think he's a fake CEO and I think he's fronting on my culture, but he can't front on anybody else. And I'm calling him out publicly and I want him to stop trying to rape my culture, go make some money with some other people. Like, stop having your agenda be hip hop. Like when Joey was like, our agenda to open up Asylum was to go, it didn't say nothing about going to get no rock and roll. It was go to get people that they don't even care about and make money from them. Yeah, just get money in their culture. Let them do it. Let's let the violence stay there. Let's benefit from the violence and not bring it, you know what I mean? It was like they have people that their job is to create beef so that they can monetize it, pause. But they don't let their culture feel it. But they make money from it. And they can't make any money or get any respect in their culture. That's why they're in our culture. Because the minute that they were allowed to be there, they would go. But they just can't. You know, the question should be, why don't you do something besides rap? And if you are all into rap, what have you done to give back to the community? I didn't know why that wasn't asked. Those were the questions that I was like, damn, if you're going to cross me, Combat Jack, Reggie Osei, ask some good questions. It almost looked like it was scripted. But, you know, it is what it is. It's a perfect example of what they always do to us. They always try to, you know, offer some paper bag of money or whatever it is, whatever selfish agenda, which is the test, and then have us divide so they can benefit and take the fight off of them and put the focus on them. Never had a beef with Jay. Always with Lyor and his whole crew. He's the one that ruined Roc-A-Fella, Lyor Cohen.
There was, when you talk about that situation, they gave Jay Roc-A-Fella back after you guys sold it, right?
I don't know, man. I don't want to go back to that. I'm just talking about me having to beef with
Okay.
Lyor Cohen. See? You see how it always transitions back to Jay? Lyor Cohen. That's my beef. Pause. Not Jay. Jay's my man. Fuck that. Lyor Cohen.
What do you think about the new label? Was it 300?
I don't know nothing about his whatever they doing. Whatever he's doing is robbing whoever he in business with. So whoever's in business with them, I suggest they check their paperwork. Whoever did a deal with them, send me your paperwork. Let me check it out for you. I'll tell you what he told you, if it was real or not. But I bet you don't own anything anymore. I bet you've given a lot of your ass is gone, about 360 of it. Maybe about 400 now. If he say 300, then he mean he taking 4.
I can tell you that Young Thug, I heard, was signed to 300.
So you should ask him about his contract. If he wants me to look at it, I'll look at it for him. I hope they didn't rob him. You know what I mean? If they
Well,
did,
he's managed by Birdman.
okay, so I'm sure they didn't then. I'm sure they know who to rob and who not to. You know, like I said, I can't speak on anybody's business, but if there's any advice I could give, I will. But I just wouldn't advise working with him just based on my history. That's all. I know what he did with me. I know how he played. I know that he doesn't care about the culture. And I know that he doesn't even feel that he has to even say anything. He's still walking around like I'm not questioning it, like he doesn't have to acknowledge it. I'm a relevant person from this culture, and I'm asking you a question publicly. What have you done for our culture? You know, speak up for the things that you've done that have been unjust to all these artists that you have robbed, because you don't care about their kids and what they got to do now. You just took them for the moment and took everything from them, and you knew they were young, and you pretended you were something you weren't. And every time they questioned you, all you did was create some kind of controversy or something to put them out of business if you could, and everyone else would be scared to question because of that. You cheated. And I'm calling him out publicly. I had things to do. I didn't have the time to do it before, and he was using Warner's money, and he was using Universal's money for his own agenda. So whoever's in business with him, like Google, that little money they gave him, they need to check his books, because I'm sure he's spending it on his life, as opposed to, and I'm not counting that man money. I'm just saying that's the way he rapes our culture. He says, he collects money from a bigger company and says, I'm gonna go get all this urban stuff, and then spends it on his kids and himself. And the urban people don't get nothing from it. Because that's what I saw him do in front of me.
I mean, when you look at who's current in hip hop,
What you think
who do
about
you think
Lyor?
is
What you think about Lyor? What you think about Lyor?
I don't know Lyor. I'll be honest.
Do you
I
know
never met
anything
him.
that he's done in hip hop? Like all these questions, that was the person that was behind a lot of the stuff that was going on. Like that's what I mean. Why do y'all want to know about the rappers? Like, aren't y'all curious? Like y'all been talking about the same thing for 5 years. Don't y'all want to know about the other side of the story? Ask about Lyor, Todd Moskowitz, and all those players. You know, Julie Greenwald.
Okay.
Ask them about their perspective on what happened. Why don't they get questioned? They make money off us every day. Let's make some money off them. Period. Like, let them see how it feels. Just reverse it. It's about perspective.
Okay.
Like, go interview Lyor and ask him those questions. Vlad, call that man. Call Kevin Lowndes.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen a Lyor Cohen interview.
Exactly.
I don't think I've ever seen a Todd Moskowitz interview.
Of course you don't see the puppet master. So it's time to see him. Bring him out. Call out Todd Moskowitz. He's wearing a scarf. He running around acting like he doing something he not. He got a job because of nepotism. Ask them why they got their jobs. That's what I want to see. How did Joey get the job president of Urban, and what does that mean? I need to see credentials. And culturally, anyone that's taking orders from that man should be asking, why should I be taking orders from you? Period. And if you answer that question honestly, then maybe you'll feel better about it. But they're not even, yo, dog, he got on the radio and said, I don't even care what y'all. You know, my questions was the same questions that everybody's asking. He don't care? That's exactly what about the culture? I don't care. He said it. Joey said it. I don't care. How you feel about the culture? I don't care. How do you feel that someone relevant from the culture thinks you're robbing it? I don't care. That's what he said. What was Currency's contracts? I don't remember. And nobody's going to question that? All right, that's why I'm Dame. I'll just continue to be Dame. I'm going to have fun being Dame.
So, I mean, what are like a few of the things that you're most outraged from, you know, from what you've seen happen?
I gotta wrap it up because I'll talk all day, but I gotta do some other stuff. But yo, so you're gonna do my interview, right?
Of course.
All right, cool. I appreciate it. You can ask me one more question. I don't want to just deb out on you, but I do got to go. I know I said a lot. You got a lot of shit to work with. So
No problem.
one more question. I appreciate the platform. One more question. Let's do it.
By the way, I don't know if you really look at numbers at all, but VladTV, we do 68 million page views a month.
I know. I get the
And then
emails.
on the
I get the emails.
Yep.
I get them. Y'all got a good operation going. I'm watching you. Do y'all do that that cartoon? Is that y'all that was doing that cartoon when they tell the stories? Who does that?
Yeah, the true hip hop stories. That's my crew.
Yeah, like I think Vlad.
Can we do something? Can we do that on my network? Come on, let's do a deal right now.
Yeah,
I want the cartoon shit because Cam put me onto it.
Yeah.
And Cam got to be involved too because he put me on.
Two of them were about Cam.
I know. That's what I'm saying. But I want to do more of those. Can we do that on my network on Poppington Group?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. Well, you about to make some money too, so you get money. You know the platform. I'm in your world now.
Yeah.
Let's work together.
Yeah, let's have a whole. Like I've been trying to do something with that, and no one's really been biting. So we put out like 10 episodes.
I'm not doing no biting. Pause. But let's talk and let's click up, man. I'm down. I'm not about working, being in comp. Let's click up. Let's be a team. I'm down. Let's do it.
Let's do it. After let's set up a time to talk, and then we can have a whole conversation about it.
Cool. I'll be in LA. Let's kick it in LA.
All right, done deal. All right, so here's my last question before I let you go. I mean, you talk about a lot of stuff about these various people, about Joey, about Todd, about Lyor.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything specific, that really bothered you during that time? Because it's kind of spoken in generalities.
I already said the thing, the Max B thing. I already said the currency thing, the Jay-Z shit, all of that. I didn't like none of that shit. I don't like it, and it keeps happening. So I don't want it to happen no more. Too much divide and conquer. So that's it, man. I'm just saying reverse the perspective. Let's stop talking about rappers beefing. Let's start talking about these people and educating the culture, because the culture is articulate. So I want the culture, when you see it in public, to be smart. The fights should be smart. Let's focus on the intelligent part of our culture as opposed to the ignorant part. And let's start questioning the administrators as well. And let's just question it. I'm not saying they did anything wrong, but I think they can't just say, I don't care. I think they should at least be able to answer a question if it's asked in a respectful way. So I just want them just as famous as me. Lyor Cohen, Julie Greenwald, Todd Moskowitz, Joey or Joy, whatever. There's a couple, but those I think we should start with them. And whoever hired Joey, I want to know why he got hired from Interscope. And I want to know what that title means, president of Urban, and why why another black man should be calling him the president of Urban and asking him what he could do, what he can and cannot do. I think it's very disrespectful, and I think it should change. And I think there should be some social responsibility and some consciousness, and some people should question it. And I don't give a fuck, because none of y'all cut my checks. None of y'all. Y'all can't affect none of my business. So I can say all of this. You can't blackball me because you can't hire me. None of y'all use your own money. So stop acting like you have the ability to blackball me. That's not the case. You can't. I blackball you, I'm never going to hire none of y'all. You're blackball, all of y'all. So with that said, it's out there. I laid it out there. I think it should be intelligent. There's no violence. I just think that there should be questions asked. And I'm also posing it to everyone, every journal, every DJ. Start pulling those guys out for interviews and asking them the real questions. Stop telling them, I'm not going to come if you're going to ask me a real question. Then y'all should call them out like I'm calling them out. If not, I'll just be Dame. I'll just be Dame. Dame will be Dame. Period. All right, y'all. Period. I appreciate it. You asked me to come through. I respect what you're doing. That's why I did the interview. It's independent, and I respect that. And, it is what it is. I'm a man that has my opinion, man. It is what it is. Thank you, man.